I love my Angmar army, I really do, but there's one profile that I feel the model just doesn't fit. That's the cave troll. Hello, I'm Dewi, and this is Gardens of Wiltshire. In this video I'm going to show you my latest cave trolls for my Angmar army using some awesome 3D prints. So as with all 3D prints, it starts in Chitterbox for me, which is a slicing software. So importing the 3 trolls I have from Kzk Minis into my slicer, I arranged them on my build plate so I could see what they would look like when they're coming out, if there's any clashes, etc. So this video sponsor is Kzk Minis. They provide a Patreon every month with lots of STLs for you to download covering various fantasy genres. This month's is the Terror Realm. It has the hill ogres you see in this video, there's bats, there are some wolves, and a vampire demon. They're really cool, and I think the sculpts are really nice. They print really well, so yeah, go check them out. Next, I filled my vat with resin. Well, there wasn't much in there, so it's just a case of pouring some in, and click and go. That's simply it. Putting the cover on to reduce smells and sounds, and just set it on its way. So this is the prints once they're done. It took about 4.5 hours. There's a case of just popping off the flexi plate, and then popping them into my wash and cure station. I put them in without taking the rest of the supports off to start with, just to get the majority of the resin off, and then once that was done, it's a case of peeling the supports away, which is so satisfying. And popping them back in the wash station, just to get those final bits of resin off that are right underneath all the supports, which obviously you can't get to previously. Once these were washed, I gave them a quick towel dry, just to get any large amounts of water off them, and then I grabbed my heat gun, just to get those final smaller bits of water off that I could. Once this was sorted, these were put back into the wash and cure station, this time on the cure settings, which is a blast of UV light to cure the resin a little bit more. And it's a case of just popping these on the turntable, setting the timer to a couple of minutes, and then hitting go. Next, it was priming the models. This was done with my airbrush, simply with Vallejo Surface Black Primer, and then getting some Liquitex white ink to do a zenithal highlight. I did these on all the trolls. I think zenithal, A, it shows up nicely for you on the camera, and B, it gives you an idea of where the shadows should be, etc. I did come back in with some Corvus Black to do some like undershading, spray from beneath to deepen some of the shadows again. Now this bit I just experimented with. I'm pretty sure this is Macragge Blue I started with, and I just went over and sprayed pretty much all of the skin tones with this colour. I then came back in with my white ink, and just did the parts of the flesh that I wanted to be a bit brighter, so the inside of the arms, the chest, the stomach, and a bit of the face. At this point I thought the skin was far too light, so I just got some Drakenhof Nightshade and popped it into my airbrush and fired away. I sprayed the whole model with this, including the white underparts, which I was kind of happy with, and then wasn't. As a final little highlight on the skin, I just got out my dry brush and a light grey and went over all the raised parts, just to give them a little bit of extra volume and depth, and yes, that's quality street, it was Christmas. Next was brown. Why so much brown? So I started with dried bark on the loincloth. I then had I used Doombrawl brown, Mournfang brown, Steel Legion drab, Rhinox hide. Oh god, there's loads of them, and I think I used a couple more, just to keep all the colours fresh and interesting, and so they didn't clash with each other too much. So here is a quick speed montage of me painting all the brown colours. Once all the browns were done, what else do you do? Agrex Earthshade. So that went over all of them. There's no beating around the bush, that's just how it went. And then I went back and highlighted up a few of the areas, doing edge highlights and the like, or just big like kind of layer highlights. I also tried my hand at sketching in some texture into the fabrics. So for example, on the main sash that goes across this particular troll, I used a lighter grey, I think it was grey? Brown, definitely brown. A lighter brown of Steel Legion Drab, I think, to do some little cross hatching to give a bit more definition, a bit more character to the models. So the skull's got a pillared witch flesh highlight, just to bring out a bit more definition. I think just to bring that contrast a little bit higher. Everyone's favourite, the eyes. So these are much easier to do on a big monster. Simply a line of black and 2 white dots in all of them. I always find turning the model upside down helps when doing the right eye of the figure. I'm not going into detail with this dwarf. Simply a lead Wiltshire and then some browns to pick out belts, etc. Wasn't much to it. I was more focusing on the trolls. There was no need to pin these trolls to their bases. It was simply a case of grabbing some 40mm bases, some super glue, and putting dots on their feet. For these I followed my standard Angmar bases, which is some of these little rocks and some sticks, and snap the sticks, put them in positions that I think are interesting, please super glue them to the base, and then cover the base in this sand shingle material. So once the base was all filled with material, it was a case of painting it brown. It's just a Wilkinson's home emulsion. I have got some acrylic craft paint in a brown that I will use in future, but all my previous Angmar was done with this paint. Next was a case of adding a couple of different colours of flock and painting the logs, etc. So the logs were Morphin brown with Rakarth flesh ends, and the rocks just got a dry brushing Gorthor brown. And then I used this mid-tone green, kind of a dark green, and then a desaturated green flock as well. And then they are done. And then we have it. There are my Birders Boys finished. These are really enjoyable to paint. Thank you to Kzk Minis for getting me an early release for these STLs. Apologies, the video is late. This was due to go out about a week ago, but life, a newborn, everything gets in the way. So if you've enjoyed this video, please comment, like, share and subscribe. Go and show Kzk some love, and we will see you all in the next video.